And for the rodent problem, the women started sleeping in cages on their hair just to keep rats from eating their hair. At the point where you have to sleep with a cage on your head just to keep rats away from your hair, I think you should consider changing your hairstyling tips. Just like an advice, you don't have to take it up. Hi and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be kind of bizarre and horrifying at the same time. You know, when they say beauty practices, I thought some of the beauty practices of like modern times were bad. Turns out like we had nothing on the how they used to do like cosmetics and beauty in general, like in the olden days. So let's talk about 6 in particular that were pretty terrible and extremely dangerous. Not in the their painful kind of way that's why they're terrible. No, in the they were like liable to lead to death, terrible kind of way. The first thing is, like, I'm going to touch on, is the radioactive face cream. Now in like the early 20th century, in the early 1900s, radioactive like cosmetics were very popular because like radiation and things like that were the in thing. You know, that thing used to make bombs. Seems like a good idea to put it on your face. So a doctor in the 1930s named Alfred Curie created a face cream, a radioactive face cream. Like the main ingredient was radium, and banked on his connection to the famous researchers who he had no relation to, but he kind of like subtly pretended to be related to them. In like the worst case of famine I've ever seen, he used to sell poisonous like face cream to people. And I used to understand this thought process. Okay, this thing is used to make bombs, so in your mind now the next natural thing is, oh, I wonder how it will benefit my skin. You know, like clears acne, removes wrinkles, cures redness, with just a little like tiny side effect of death. Just small, though, it's not big death, just very tiny side effect of death. You know, aren't all creams that dangerous? What else do you want from the cream? It cures everything else. You have to just take the side effect like that. It seems like the early 1900s were like the bad years for beauty. That's when everybody was experimenting on everything they could experiment on to see what worked and what did. It usually leading to like death, you know, but at least you know it did not work after a particular amount of time. X-rays nowadays are used to check for fractures, etc., like fractures and so on. But in the early 1900s, X-rays were used to remove body hair. The some people were even like subjected to over 20 hours a day of X-ray radiation just to get rid of their body hair. Yeah, so it will actually remove their body hair. Nobody is denying that. But it also caused skin thickening, ulcers, and you know what else X-rays are famous for, that even the doctors wear protective dressing. Cancer. It's used to cause cancer. So that was used as a hairstyling tool in the 1700s. Women, like the in thing, the fashionable style then was like to have really high hairstyles. You know, we used to like seen pictures of all of them that they'll be curled on the head and such. So how they would achieve the look is that they will have like iron frames, they will have leather horse hair pads, and they would curl the hair with tongs, like cover it in lard. Lard would be used to keep the hair firm, as basically like styling mousse, and then they would style the hair. I forgot that they will powder it with lead, you know, which is a whole different ballgame, a whole different problem that I'm not even going to touch on now, because as we all know, lead is poisonous. Then the problem with that particular like styling hair styling tip was that because of the whole steps involved in getting their hair to like form the particular style, they could not wash the hair. After a while, like the hair would be so like start attracting like rodents and lice, to the extent that they had special hair scratching tools. Like the lice problem became that bad that they had started selling like long hair scratching tools. And for the rodent problem, the women started sleeping in cages on their hair just to keep rats from eating their hair, at the point where you have to sleep with a cage on your head just to keep rats away from your hair, I think you should consider changing your hairstyling tips. Just like an advice, you don't have to take it up, but if it has gotten to the stage where your hairstyle attracts rats and rodents, it's probably not the right hairstyle for you. The next one is eyelash extensions. You'll be wondering what's wrong with eyelash extensions? This is something that is practically a staple in makeup nowadays. People wear false lashes. People even go for I don't know the technical term, but the ones that are semi-permanent that last for 2 or 3 weeks. It's practically normal nowadays to do that. But the 1899 version of eyelash extensions, it will not even get the makeup artist sued. It will get the makeup artist in jail, jail straight. I won't go into too much detail because it's very gory. Well, what they'll basically do is they'll pluck a long hair from the head of the person that needs the eyelash extension, thread that hair into a needle, and then sew the hair into the person's eyelashes. You heard me right, they will sew the hair into the person's eyelashes with a needle through the skin. You might be wondering, would that be painful? No, it will not be painful, because guess what, they will numb this person's skin with just a little cocaine, not plenty shower, but they'll use small cocaine to numb the person's skin. It sounds very, very effective. I'm sure they looked very, very beautiful. This one, I'm not even going to talk for a long time. Using radioactive toothpaste. It was believed that using radioactive toothpaste will get your teeth the whitest. Now, something that causes death and cancer when it is rubbed on the skin. Imagine the reaction the person will get from ingesting it directly. And that's all I'm going to say. Something that will kill you when applied topically. Imagine what will happen when you ingest it directly. This last one, I've known about it for a few years, and the impact is still as terrible as it was the first time I read about it or saw it. Foot binding was this very popular trend in China. It was a very long time. I won't say it was a long time ago, because technically it didn't really become officially abolished until the 1930s. Foot binding is a beauty treatment or a beauty practice where a lady, they would break her toes, bend it back into the what's that called into her heel, her underfoot, and then bind it. This will happen periodically from the age 3 or age 4, because they wanted to achieve this kind of wobbly walk and doll like leg size that was considered extremely attractive in China in those days. And then there's a particular set of people that they want. I think they're called golden lotus, that their leg size, their foot size would be about 2 or 3 inches long. I don't think that we even pass this. That was very extremely small. That was considered to be the most attractive of all. Some rich families even took it a step extra and would do this so severely that the lady would not even be able to walk at all. That it was that bad, she wouldn't even be able to walk, and that was seen as a symbol of wealth, because it meant that the family had servants to do everything, to do her bathing for her, her dressing, her cooking, every single thing. So that was the symbol of wealth then. And the thing is, if it was that fashionable, I wonder why the men did not join them in doing that kind of painful treatment. Because this thing was very, 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 very painful to women, and it was so severe on some that they couldn't even walk at the end of it, but they could only limp along as they were going. And that was the beauty standard at that time. That was what was considered to be fashionable. But all these beauty treatments that people are doing, or that people were doing in those days, I wonder why if it was so fashionable and so considered in trend or on trend or something, why did the men not equally join them to do the painful treatments together, so we will know that yes, these things are really fashionable, instead of just letting this poor set of women go through these painful treatments on their own just to be considered attractive. That's the end of this video, and in case you did not notice, I am judging everybody so terribly, both society and in fact I guess I can't really blame the women, because image was everything in those days. And on that horrifying note, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on today's videos. Tell me your own like historical beauty treatments you've noticed that you really horrified you that I didn't mention here. Even some modern ones that you feel like, okay, maybe they are kind of like, should I say, outdated, or should not be something that is so popular. Bye.